Next, let's have a look at how to add images to your media library. Now, the media library is where all of the pictures and graphics, logos, things of that nature are stored for your website. For example, you'll notice here that the Pinterest icon is visible, the calendar icon that's been used on all of the event widgets is present. Just about all of the, well, actually all of the images that you'll find on your website are found here in your media library. Now, one thing to note, you can either load an image here in the media library and then use it on the pages, or if you find yourself on a WordPress page where you need to have a new image added to the library, that's no problem. You can just update it and load it right to that page, and it will in turn save to the media library. So no matter how you load it into the website, it's going to end up here on the media library. So let's take a look at that. Let's go ahead and create a new page, and we're going to add a picture to it just so you can see the exercise of how it's added and how it will save to the media library. So let's call this sample picture page. Keep it simple. And let's bring the cursor down into the white part, into the working section. Now, I actually had a little bit of content saved, but you know what I just did? I pasted it directly, and we don't do that. We're going to paste it in as text. So I'm going to hit the icon that looks like a clipboard with a T, which is to copy as text, and I'm going to Control V there and then insert it into the page. And we covered in another section on how to edit pages the fact that that brings it in a nice clean format. Now, this is just sample text. It's not meaningful. It happens to be about peanut butter, but of course it would be more meaningful content for you. Now, I want to add a picture that's going to appear over here in this section of the page. I want it to be right justified. What I want to do is actually place my cursor in the position where I want the picture to be, because it's going to insert right here, and then I can right justify it so it appears over here on the right hand side of the page. We're going to hit Add Media, and you'll notice that the default is to show that media library that we just looked at, all of the different photographs and images and graphics that were there. But I can also upload something new if needed. So let's go to Upload Files, and you'll see a pretty standard wizard for selecting files. And I'm going to grab one that I just put into my Downloads folder as a sample. And this one's a bit large, so it's going to take a moment to upload. Okay, so now we have a new picture that we've added both to the media library, so you can see that it is loaded to the media library even though we've uploaded it from a page, so it's sort of two steps in one. And I have a picture now available for my web page. Now you'll notice that you've got the title is pretty much the default name of your picture. And down here, we've got some settings that will govern how this will appear on the page. Now, I want the alignment to be right justified, but you'll notice that you could also do left, center, or no justification. I want to choose right. And if I wanted to, I could actually attach this to a URL where instead of linking to the picture itself or linking to none, which is better, I could actually connect it to a URL and have that image pop out to a website or to another page on your website. For now, let's keep it simple, and we'll just link to nothing. Now notice you can also select your basic size here. I can make it a thumbnail, which is very small, medium, large, or full size. Now let's go ahead and put this in a large size so we can see what it looks like. Now that we've selected the options, I'm going to insert into page. And you'll notice that the picture comes in and it's right justified just as I selected. And let's see what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and hit preview. And again, it will open in a new tab for me to preview my work so far. Now, Because this image is so large, it's actually not possible to right justify it. So what it's done is centered it and brought the content down. This is a rather unusually large image, and it's probably appropriate that it be centered on top of the verbiage if it's this large. So let's actually make it a little bit smaller because I do want to have it right justified. Now, to change the size, I'll click on the image, and we'll notice that a menu comes up, and one of them is Edit Image. And I can bump down the size. I can bump it down to 60% and update it. And I still think that's a bit large for this particular application. So I can just go in and repeat that process until the image is about the size that I'd like. Of course, I could have brought it in a smaller size as well, but I wanted to run through the exercise of actually making these edits. So let's bump it down in size one more time. Edit Image. Let's make it pretty small. Let's make it 60% once again. So I think this is going to be a bit better. Let's preview again. Much better. It's now a small image rather than being a large dominant graphic. It's more of an accent image. So this is probably more appropriate for this particular application. Now, I mentioned on another video, because we're still in testing and about to finish the site, we're having a little bit of an issue with the social sharing, but that will be done and complete before we launch the site. Okay, that looks the way I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and publish my page. Now, one thing to note, sometimes with images, the text will bump up too close to the image. This one happens to be a round image, but of course, like all images, it has a square around it. So you do have a good bit of space between the text and the image itself. But if this was too close and we wanted to add a little bit more space, or what's called pad, we can do that here. Just as we did the edit before, I can click on the image and click Edit Image, and then I'll go to Advanced Settings, and one thing I have is Image Properties, Vertical Space, and Horizontal Space. And of course, horizontal space will add space going this way, so from left to right on the image, and vertical space will add it up and down. So if you had verbiage under the image that was too close, you might add some pad. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of pad, even though it's not needed, just so you can see how it works. 5 pixels is generally a good place to start. That gives you a good bit of pad. It's not too large, and you can go up if needed. You can come back in and add 5 more. So I'm going to update. And again, with this particular example, it's not so obvious, but it will create pad between the text and the image. So you can use that to manipulate how that image looks on the page.